Hi, welcome to Promo Insiders, an ASI media podcast covering the topics that matter most to the promotional products industry. I'm Sara Lavenduski with ASI Media, and today I'm here with my colleague Hannah Rosenberger to discuss the ASI Orlando show held last week. So Hannah, we were there together covering all the sights and sounds. What was like the overall vibe among the exhibitors and attendees at the show?
I feel like everybody had a ton of energy. I don't know if that's just, the fact that it's the first show of the year, it's January, fresh start, everybody's coming out into 2026 swinging. I don't know what the cause is, but that's the impression I got. It was my second ASI show ever, first time in Orlando. So I wasn't totally sure what to expect coming from a slightly smaller show like Fort Worth last year. But the people in Florida brought the energy, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think it helps. The weather's really nice
Mm-hmm.
there. And I agree that the energy was really off the charts. And this is so on brand for this industry. Like last year was so kind of the hills and valleys of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, being very cautious, but honestly, jumping into the new year, everybody's excited to get started, to see the new trends on the floor, to go to the professional development sessions we had. So yeah, I would say the energy was like off the charts. We had a busy show floor. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's nice to be at first out the gate. So that all helped.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we also the first day is education day, and then they have power sessions on the show floor. What was the takeaway for you from the education sessions you attended?
One thing I've been thinking about this week since we got back from Orlando is I attended a couple of the AI focus sessions with Sterling McKinley, and something that I forget if it was the second session. I think it came up in both sessions actually, which is this idea that the whole idea is like the AI is just meant to be a tool that's going to help you. There's no like there's going to be classes out there. There's going to be like step-by-step things that you can do to a certain degree, but like the best way to learn how to use these tools is to just get in there and do it. You're not always going to find like a perfect step-by-step model to get it to do what you want it to do, because it kind of is what you make of it in a lot of ways, which I thought was an interesting takeaway, just because I think it's AI is unlike a lot of other tools we have at our disposal in that way. It's like, oh, if you have like a certain software programs or things like that, like they generally do come with a lot of tools and tips and tricks. And, obviously those things are out there and very valuable when you're working with like a Copilot or a ChatGPT or whatever the case may be. But I thought it was really interesting that just given the scope of artificial intelligence and how it's becoming more and more prominent in this industry and just in general, that a lot of the emphasis was really on, okay, here's a formula, but like you have to make it work for you in the way that makes sense, makes the most sense for your business.
Sure. Yeah, I totally get that. And it was interesting. The takeaway for me from education day is actually very similar.
Mm-hmm.
I attended the Sustainability That Sells session with Lindsay Hampson from This Rock, and it was very similar. It was like, companies get overwhelmed by the fact that there are so many different certifications out there. But she was like, look, like you have to pursue the certifications that pertain to your company, that work with whatever size you are, the clients that you work with. Like it's not one size fits all. There are a lot of different certifications, and it is what you make of it, right? So if you want to work with like these bigger clients, if you want to work with, the Fortune 500, sustainability is now a non-negotiable for all of them. And so you
Mm-hmm.
really need to have your bona fides like in place. And also they can see through inauthenticity. So they can see through greenwashing, they can
Mm-hmm.
see through like flimsy claims. Like you really have to have all of your documentation on file. And if you want to pursue a certification like EcoVadis, she brought up, their platinum EcoVadis at This Rock. And she said, and there are companies obviously in promo that are EcoVadis rated. And she said it's really important that you look all the certifications, and This Rock that's part of their job. They help companies kind of get all of that in order. But she said, not every certification is meant for you. Like pursue the ones that most pertain to
Mm-hmm.
what you do and the clients that you serve. But yeah, she said, sustainability, it's not going anywhere. It's a big part of RFPs. It's a way for companies to compete. And if you can really show your bona fides and you have that documentation on file that's clear, you're going to have an edge over your competition for sure. How about the keynote? The keynote was really interesting. I really enjoyed it. It was very inspiring. What did you think of Melissa Proctor?
I thought she was fascinating. I wasn't quite sure what to expect because I can't say that I know literally anything about the Atlanta Hawks. But I thought she brought such a positive energy to the stage. I thought she was very down to earth, very real about kind of where her headspace is at during all of these various stages of his career. And she was honestly very candid about kind of the approach she took, and like she and the Atlanta Hawks organization took to kind of undergo the comprehensive kind of rebrand and building back up that they've done over the past, I think, decade or so that she talked about. So I thought it was a really fascinating keynote.
Yeah, very like bold and unafraid, but
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, like you said, down to earth, like felt like a friend, like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, somebody you could just sit next to and talk to. She's nothing if not, I think I said in my coverage, like she's nothing if not persistent. Like she knew as a young girl that she wanted to be involved in basketball, like being a coach, but she had never even played the game. But like she saw that vision even through like the no's and the ups and downs of her career. She had that vision and she like never took her eye off of it. Like you never take your eye
Mm-hmm.
off the ball. She never took her eye off that vision, and she's the CMO now, and she's making like huge strides for that franchise. It was really cool, and the meet and greet after was very busy. Like people, it really resonated with people. They were like
Mm-hmm.
hugging her, they were saying thank you. Like it was quite a moment, I would say. Like it was really like kind of bringing people together for that hour. Yeah, I really enjoyed her time. I'm glad she joined us. It was a lot of fun. What were some of the trends that you noted on the floor?
I think my favorite trend, and this isn't necessarily something completely new, but definitely something I think we've seen the industry moving towards in the past couple of years, is just apparel that looks more and more like what you see in the mall or in a retail store when you're going shopping in your personal life and not, sitting at your desk ordering promo items. It's, I some of my favorite, a couple of my favorite pieces were this mock neck kind of sweatshirt fleece style from Pennant Sportswear had one and Charles River had one. A lot of like really, really soft fabrics, which who doesn't like being comfy? And I think the fact that, that's the direction the industry is headed more and more towards like athleisure as business casual, etc. Um, is a sign of that as well. There's so a lot of really fun, comfortable apparel that like I would want to like personally wear or buy, like even if I wasn't like there to like walk and work or like walk around and work and write about these things. Like I would have picked a lot of those products up, if I was in, I don't know, wherever.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how especially post pandemic, the fashions have certainly gotten to like comfort. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's so big, and it's like comfort, but also acceptable in a corporate environment.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really bridges that gap. And you can wear it in both. Like I remember we were at the Next Level booth, and they were saying how like that boxy tee that's like a
Mm-hmm.
basic, you can go like the girls there wear it like in a corporate setting. Like they'll pull like a
Mm-hmm.
like a blazer jacket over it. It's interesting. It's gotten so like almost in step with retail, and they're
Mm-hmm.
paying attention to women, which is really great. Um,
Yay.
and, and the comfort aspect is very welcome. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
definitely matching the retail trends. Like you said, you would pull that off the rack and buy it at a retail store
Yeah.
for full price. Like really, really nice objects.
Yeah, I think
Um,
the attention to women's styles is so important because, I think for a long time, probably it was either just an adapted version of the men's style or just purely unisex. I don't remember what supplier I was talking to about this, but someone
oh,
said something along those lines of like, it was, we've had women's styles, but they were always more just kind of a unisex option. But now, like, there are these styles like that mock neck or like that boxy tee that are like female first and that are women's styles first, and then whether there's a men's equivalent or not like isn't really relevant because that's
right.
the women's product.
Yes, yes. It used to be like men's da da da, and then like coordinating women's piece. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was always like men first, and then the women like would have one adapted to their body type.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
yeah, or it was unisex. Yeah,
Yes.
totally. Um, that's been a welcome trend over the past few years. I really liked the sustainable items. I really liked like that
Mm-hmm.
so equilibrium
Mm-hmm.
compostable iPad case, which is really cool. That Seeded Promotions had cute little gift sets, the growers, the little mini growers in the pots.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was really impressed with, I did the report on the print products on the floor. I was really impressed with how well done the prints are at such low minimums and quick turns. That was
Mm-hmm.
really impressive. Bag Maker, one of our top 40 suppliers, they had some beautiful bags that like are like at a, if you have a big conference, like the bag you give out is usually at a lower
Yep.
price point because there's thousands of people, but they can do really beautiful work on these bags that make them something you would never get rid of, that you're going to use and use and use.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool. And they did like multimedia decoration on it. So they would add rhinestones when appropriate. And the branding was really subtle, which was really cool. Yeah, I really appreciated the print work was really something to behold on the floor. And
Definitely.
we had a new session. So we had the breakfast brainstorm last year and we
Mm-hmm.
redid it this year. We revamped the breakfast session as a networking session called Cafe and Collaborate. And I thought it was a lot of fun. What did you think? Like, so we had we presented the sample. It was a case study on like a fake client, but we gave
Mm-hmm.
tables 20 minutes to work out a campaign for a client that we presented to them. And people were jumping out of their chairs with excitement, ready to hit the show floor running. What did you think of the session? I thought it was a lot of fun.
I thought it was a ton of fun. I was very impressed with, again, people's energy. I don't know if it's just because I'm not a morning person. I did not have that much energy at 9 o'clock or whatever that was. But yeah, I was extremely impressed with what all these people who presumably for the most part did not know each other were able to come up with in such a sort of short time span. And really, everybody really like jumped feet first into the brief. I think there were logos, there were slogans, there were budgets. Our winning table like ended their presentation there with like a full-fledged budget breakdown of kind of all of the things that they would be able to do with the amount that they were given for the prompt, which I thought was extremely impressive. So a lot of very creative, very fun people in the industry in our industry, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. They did a lot of work in 20 minutes. They worked really fast. It was kind of amazing. Um, yeah, so it was a great show. The energy is up for 26, thankfully. And I know, last year was kind of a tough year, but you wouldn't know it from
Mhm.
Orlando. That's for sure.
That's
People
for
are raring
sure.
to go. Yep. So it's all we can ask for. So thank you, Hannah. Thanks for time today. And for all of our coverage of the show, head to asicentral.com/news. And to find out more information on ASI Fort Worth, which is coming up in March, go to asishow.com. Thank you, and thank you, Hannah.